Hello, welcome to my channel. So I just wanted to showcase this project that I've been working for in the last couple of weeks. So this is a Python socket programming project and here I have a server file which I have running in my local host, and in this port 550 5050, and I also have the client. The client script is here and I'm running it in this command window. So basically what happens is when you run the client file as so, you run it with an extra argument, which is the word that you want to search from the file. So let's say you want to search the word baby. So if the string exists, it will tell you server response, so string exists. And in the server, if you look at the log, it will say connection from this IP address from this port. The search query was baby and it finished in 0.0 seconds. You can search for another word, let's say one that I know it doesn't exist. So let's say let's say baby, but with double I. Yeah, you see it clearly, string not found. String not found, and it's finished in 0.05 seconds. So basically, when you search for a string from the client, what happens is when you go to the server file, it will search this string from this. I have this text file which has 200,000 lines. So these are all about efficiency. So the server file, the server script will receive these arguments, and then it will search for it in this test server in this test 200k, this text file. So a glimpse into the server script. So we have a configuration file which will contain, you can add your own configuration file. For main, this is a simple configuration file which I'll also include in the GitHub repo. But yeah, you can change things such as anything that you want. So this like the IP and the port you can change. SSL enabled, this basically checks if you have enabled the SSL authentication for the server file. Now I've set it to false, but if you set it to true, then there are some parameters like the private key, the certificate.pem, and the certificate path, which you should add. You should install in your local machine or in your local development environment, and you should have this if you want to set the SSL enabled to true. The reread on query, this I've also set it to false. You can set it to true, but basically what it does is when you first launch, or let's say you run this server script, it will check here, it will read the file. So here is a function, read file, so it takes the file path. You should also include the file path in your config.ini. Yeah, so it will first read on running it initially. So the initial file content is read file, so we take this method and the file path. So basically what happens is sometimes the file path can change, or the contents of the file can change. So you need to check if the contents have changed during the running of the script. If the content changes when the client connects, sometimes when you set the read to true, it will now here you can see in the search string where we want now to search for the match. If not read on query, so here if it's false, basically we just use the initial file content. Yeah, but if the reread on query is true, we want to reread the contents of the file. So we'll just, now file content is read, now we are reading, reload the file on each query. But if it's set to false, we just use the initial contents of the file to search for the match. Yeah, so that's basically what it does. So here, this function here, read file, it basically just reads the contents of the file and stores it in a string. And now if it's for the read on query is true, we'll have to read on every query here. Yeah. Then when here in the handle client, basically now here we just now connect we receive data from client in the required format and size in bytes. Yeah. So we receive the search query. Then after we receive the search query, we strip any extra let's say like a suffix that's in the query, so that you can have a valid query. So if the data is equals to disconnect message, so basically there's a disconnect message. So when you send the disconnect message, what it will do, it will just disconnect the client from the server. So if the data is the disconnect message, connected is equals to false. Else, if the boolean if found, if you run now this search string function, yeah, if it's found, the search string, so we take the search string, the data, and the file path. So if found, so basically if found is true, we return string exists, else string is not found. Then we just handle the exceptions. Finally we close the client connection. So here is the main loop. So I've used multi-threading for this project because at one point you might have multiple clients connecting to your server, and we don't want it to bottleneck. Let's say if our client is taking long, the query for one client is taking long, we don't want it to bottleneck the whole server. So we want them to run concurrently. So basically, here we just take the socket, we bind it to an IP address and a port, and we listen from that IP address and port. If SSL is enabled, basically we wrap this socket, this server socket, in the SSL client, so that this is just for authentication purposes. And here we are logging in, just print server listening on. So we are just logging, like here, server listening on this IP address and the port. So while true, so client socket address, we just get the client socket and the address from the client who is connecting. Okay, then we log the address of the IP address and the port of the client, and then now we just initiate a thread and then we start the thread. So that's basically what the server script is doing. But here also we have another file called the search algorithms.py. So basically this is where our search string match algorithms are. So here we have a total of 5 algorithms to choose from. So we have the naive search. Naive search is basically just a linear search. We have this KMP search. So I've explained from the doc strings here what kind of string match algorithm it is. So they are all here, the search algorithms. Some of them are hashing algorithms, linear search algorithms. They use different methods. Yeah, so basically after defining all these algorithms here, I've imported them into from search algorithms import. So I've imported all these algorithms into my server file. And now from the server file, when you go into this function called the search string, you can actually use different methods to search. So here I've commented out, which I was using the KMP search method. So if KMP found false, yes. So you can just change the file, the search method. Here I'm using KMP search, but you can use any of the search methods or any of the search functions that have the algorithms that are defined in this search algorithms.py script. And you can just check which one is more efficient when you just check the time that takes to finish. You can add a string that you're sure is not there into the script, into the server script, which will check to the end of the text file. Yeah. So here is also a test that I created for the server file that also tests the various if the various functions are working properly, and it uses the parameterizing. If you have used PyTest in any of your tests, here You can parameterize so that you don't have to like change the expected and the input and the output and the expected output for various. You don't have to change for various let's say like search words or search queries. So basically it just searches. So here these are my queries, the test string, and then the expectation is this string exists, non-existent string not found, so that you can just check. No, but they are then where is it? So you just assert there is the what the query and the expected response, and you see if it's working properly. Yeah. So basically this is just a brief outline of the program. You can use it you can modify it and use it for your own specifications for your own needs. And also here in this we have a PDF document here which has a description of the search algorithms it has a description of the search algorithms, and it also has a table which with every file size and then the time taken for completing a search query. And they will also have these graph that shows the performance of the various search algorithms. And also we have additional search algorithms that you can implement, but these ones I did not implement, but the descriptions are here, the time complexity and the space complexity. For the ones that I implemented, we have them here, the description and the complexities, the space and time complexities of both. Yeah. So that is it, and you'll find the link to the GitHub repository in the video description.